Hello, how are you? Good. Glad to see everybody here. I'm so used to addressing a camera, but I was told don't look at the camera, so I'm trying really hard not to look at the camera. Can you guys hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Can we turn this up just a tad bit, Steve? So, I'm Aaron Collins. Welcome to our special Halloween edition of Paranormal Crossings. We thank you so much for being here. I'd like to introduce you. You're probably wondering, why is the bald dude talking? We got beautiful women up front. So, I'd like to introduce you first to my co-host, my friend, Elise Wells.
Yay.
Hello. I thought so much about coming. I was about ready to unhook and come scare you.
You could have. It would have been fine.
It would have been so awesome, but then I was like, I'm attached. Chart it.
Stay grounded, stay grounded.
Tish, go, go. I'll cover for you.
And see, you guys aren't supposed to get up and move around. I, on the other hand, see, look at this. Ooh, look
I
at
know.
This. I am, for the first time in the history of Paranormal Crossings. How you doing? What's your name?
Tara.
Okay, good. Hi, Tara. I'm not tied to a seat like you guys.
I
but
know.
It's only because this is about you guys. And this is about you guys. So, Elise is a psychic medium. And then I would like to also introduce you to Tish Paquette, who's also a psychic medium. So give her a warm welcome. Welcome.
Yay. Hey to you.
Two for the price of one.
Yeah.
Two for the price of one, that's right. This is Price is Right. So, what we're going to do is we want to have your participation. And what I mean by that, if you have any questions that you would like to ask either one of our people on the panel, then just raise your hand. I'll come over to you and hand you the mic so that we and people that are watching on television can hear you. And they can hear the questions as well. So, is that okay?
And
Okay.
along with that, Aaron, I just wanted to explain a little bit about how two psychics work as opposed to one. Now, one of the reasons why we decided to kind of create the separation, as you know, from the last show that we did, and Tish having an amazing record, history, and what she does, although had a hard time defining the both of us, given that we are such big energies sitting next to one another. So, in fact, the reason I explain this is because people are sitting next to one another, there tends to be a runoff. And your energy might be coming around the person that you're with or by, and we in fact may be reading the energy of something else. So feel free, if we're mentioning something that sounds familiar or the name sounds familiar, that you say something and acknowledge that we might in fact be talking about you. It doesn't mean that, it doesn't discredit that we are not capable. It's just when energies are so close to one another, sometimes it's hard to separate that energy and to read directly from that one person. So we might we might be reading off of somebody else, but that doesn't mean we're not getting it correct. It just means that we're reading off something else. Another thing, as Tish and I were talking at the beginning of the show, one of the things I was explaining to my husband before I got onto the show was that being a psychic is not necessarily the easiest job in the world. That being said, it's as if I think Tish and I may read a little bit differently. Tish she enjoys a little bit more of the energies, the colors, and she'll explain more for how she reads. But for me, what I tend to do is I tend to go to like the heart of the matter. What might have started this, given a family relationship or a family situation? And then I kind of start to peel back the layers and determine where you are now in this, how you have grown from this, and where you need to go forward with this. And so I will look and see, say you're asking about a job. And so I'll spin backwards into 18, 19, where you were before, how your life started off onto jobs, how your parents were with you in jobs, how your family history, what obligations did you have as a child that you may have not been expected to have. Maybe you just were able to go to college and enjoy college, or maybe you had to raise a young sibling. And I have to take all of that into account and read that. And then I also have to read where your present job situation is. And then I have to read past that, and I have to read what you are capable of doing, what job skills you're able to do. And then I have to see if you're okay. So here's your question right here at the end of this. But what I'm having to do is I'm having to read past this, because in some sense or another, we have ownership of what we tell you. We're not just going to say, your life is going to be such and such, or you're going to have this. There is another identifying factor that goes into all of this, and it is the fact that you have free will. And with free will, you can take everything that we're saying here and you can throw it out the window. And you can say, I went to go see a psychic, or I paid to go see a psychic, and I don't believe a darn tootin' thing that they said, and I'm going to throw it out the window because it doesn't apply to me. The other thing too is that we can tell you something and you can actually manifest this to happen. The energy of this, because you believe so strongly in this, can actually invoke it to happen. Whether we say that you could get illness or that you could do this, and you have the power to do this within yourself. You could say, I am so sick. I feel like I'm going to die from something. And in fact, you could die from something because you have thought about it. One of the things I loved last time when you were on the show, and I'm going to have her explain a little bit more into this before we get started, onto this energy and the fact that we are water, and that we have cells and we have memory and we have things that remind us, and that we can manifest these things to actually happen if we actually truly believe that they are going to happen to us. Then we must explain to you how not to take these in personally and not to manifest these things and to be open-minded.
Elise said, as psychics, intuitives, medium workers, whatever you want to label us, we all have a different skill set. We all can do very similar things. Read energies, read frequencies, and I tend to do that. We both can go into, quote, haunted areas and pick up energies of people. You just did one, I just did one the other day, and yes, that happens. The other thing that one can do is read your specific energy and auric field and talk about what's going on with you specifically. And so I tend to hone my energies into doing that and finding out where you're at physically, emotionally, and spiritually, because we're three-dimensional beings. And so I read what's going on in your energy field, and sometimes I know medically that there are some issues going on. Sometimes you have ancestors. We both read people that come through. Angels can come through, pets can come through, and we read those. As far as giving out all the information that we get, we're a little judicious on that. We sit back and we're just a funnel. We're just the messenger. So whatever information we get, some of it we're a little cautious on delivering it, only because we sense where you're at and if you're in a space to hear it. So when we do readings, we always ask for the highest and best that you need at the time. And that's usually what comes through. And I tend to use chakras as a gateway to read where you're at. And those are energy systems of the body. Without them, you wouldn't be able to do acupuncture or acupressure. And I get a lot of information through that. And then things get revealed more and more as we go through each one. And it's just a kick in the pants.
Yeah.
I love it. It's it's great.
Awesome.
So,
Well, are you two ready?
We are.
Are you ready?
ready as we're going to be.
So I'm going to turn to the audience here. If you have a question, raise your hand, and I'll have you come
Is the
forward.
audience ready? I know that when she said animals, everybody just thought of their long lost
They did.
animal.
They did. We got a cat over here and a bird over
Oh
here.
my gosh! I'm gonna have to tap into every single cat.
Meow, Tabby.
So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. I'll come over, or actually I'll have you come forward, stand here at the podium, and ask the question that you may have for one of the two ladies up front. So let's get started. Who's first?
Oh
Anyone?
no, they're
Anyone?
scared. Aaron, go ahead. Do you have a question, Aaron?
You guys know me. That's the problem.
It doesn't matter. What do you want to know? Will you be famous? Yes.
We all know that.
Are you famous? Yes.
Duh.
No. No, he is not famous. Don't let that go to his head. And don't let it go to his head, because his wife would say, absolutely not. And you would
That's
still
right.
do the dishes, and you would still do the
Right, and I
laundry.
got to watch my P's and Q's because she's in the audience. So.
Right?
Normally she's in the control room and we're separated by glass.
I know, and she's doing this.
Now there's
and
just
she's
air
doing,
and
she's
people.
doing this.
So, duck. No,
Yeah.
just kidding. Duck, get it? Ducks. Go Ducks. Anyways, so, yeah, you know what? I have a question. My oldest son, Zach, who's not here today,
Okay.
I've mentioned it to you, but I'm going to direct it towards Tish, if you don't mind. He's going on 22 years old. He's always had some sort of ability, and more so now. He came to me yesterday morning, or actually Christina and I the other night, and said, when you go to the show, could you please ask this question for me? He said, all of a sudden, he said, Dad, people are talking around me. There's people surrounding me. There's people that I know, and there's people I don't know. And why is this happening all of a sudden like this?
And he's 22.
He'll be 22 in January.
And
correct?
he's been sensitive from the time he was little.
I think so, yes.
Okay. Yeah, he's had an energy shift for whatever reason, and I'd have to try to pinpoint that if I spoke with him, but he's had an energy shift that has caused this opening. And you must have said the same thing, huh, baby cakes? Oh, yeah, good job.
I gave him this information in the car earlier.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Carry on.
And that's usually what happens. The nice thing is that you've provided a venue for him to not be afraid of it and to be open to it, and his eyes are still open. Most young people, most children, their eyes get shut down about 3rd grade. If you look at your children's pictures from kindergarten, I was an educator, so I got to look at your pictures in your folder. And I could see, oh, how sweet, how cute, how cute. And then about, not that you weren't cute, but about 3rd or 4th grade, there was a shift. And I worked with alternative ed kids and special ed kids, and it's kind of like, oh, divorce, oh, something, and that may be. But what it really is that that's when the world and your parents and our culture says conform. And once you conform to live here in this time, the window closes. But you are here and you guys do a job that allows the window to stay open so that they're sensitive to get this information and energy. And he's right prime for this now. One word of caution, when that happens, you have the ability to slow the information flow down, because they'll get an overload. And then they get confused, and then they get panicky and all that. And that can be funneled and channeled more carefully.
Yeah, just
I
tell
think
him.
that's where he's at now. I think he's feeling a little overwhelmed.
Just tell him
And-
that he doesn't have to receive what he doesn't want to receive, and what he chooses to receive, he can be open to that. So what he's willing to receive, you said a lot about that he's receiving stuff from people that he's related to. If he's open to receiving what he's related to, but he doesn't want to receive what he's not related to, then he can also close that channel and receive those who have passed on that he's familiar with. So I will only receive information, and he needs to address that. I will only receive information of those who I am close to.
Okay. Now, in your opinions,
Pretty much, with the little caveat of if he is getting information from those he doesn't know, those just may be triggers to confirm the information he's getting. It
Okay.
doesn't have to be anything scary or anything like that.
okay. Well, I did take him, Elise was the one who, I wasn't a paranormal investigator at the time. It was something I always wanted to do. And I had training as an investigator in a different type of business, let's just say. And so I just put those skills with paranormal investigating, and here we are. Been doing it almost 15 years now. So, but he begged me to take him on an investigation. He was probably 19 or so. And I said, okay, you can go. And when I listened to the audio later, bless you.
Excuse me.
See, she's sneezing on the truth. When I listened to the audio later, you can clearly hear Zach and I, we were up in a bedroom in this house. It was a private residence, and there was lots of claims of paranormal activity, so we're in this particular room that I felt drawn to. Now, during our quiet whispering conversation, all of a sudden, on top of us, you can hear, Zach. And when he heard that, he started crying, literally, because he's intrigued by the paranormal, but to have his name called out like that, it freaked him out. And it didn't seem malevolent to me. It didn't seem that it was evil in any way. It was just like, hey, Zach, you know? And so, do we all possess the ability to receive messages from the other side?
Absolutely.
100%.
Okay.
This is your intuitive psychic self. It's called the third eye. And it's supposed to spin and have energy and good color. And depending on how active you are, and no offense against men, but women tend to have it more readily just because they end up being parents, they end up being, not that guys don't, but they just have that connection quicker. Although I've met some pretty fantastic men that have this way open. But another thing with your son is it's very likely that one of those may have been an ancestor that has connected with him and has chosen to stay in his energy field as a protector, as a guide, as an instructor, because we all have that. And that could very well have been. We would have to do a reading on him and delineate who's there.
Okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions yet? Somebody's got to have a question. Somebody. Huh?
It's scary.
It's scary. It is scary.
Yeah.
So I was wondering. Do you have a question?
Oh, you had an I'll go.
I'll have you go up to the podium. Don't worry, I'm not going to come and pick everybody out. I just happen to know.
Hello.
Hi. I actually have been told a couple times before that I had a rainbow aura, and I was wondering what that means.
Well, you're good at the auras. You go.
Oh, thanks. What I see in you, since you mentioned the rainbow aura, you're kind of a high thinker, okay? You're analytical and spiritual. And so, I'm sorry I do this because this is how I read frequency. And so I'm seeing that your chakras, though they're a little wobbly, and you, well, I would love to talk to you sometime. Sorry.
You only have 5 minutes, Tish.
Yeah, your chakras are in alignment, but you have real high vision of future things. Does that make sense to you?
Very much so.
Yeah, and that's what I'm seeing for you with the rainbow.
Okay.
And so keep doing the work, and there's just a couple things that need tweaked, and you're gonna take off.
I got those.
Did you get those?
Yeah.
And
How open may I be with you?
completely. You won't scare me.
How close are you to your father, biological father?
I'm a mommy's girl, so I'm pretty close, but we don't.
You're mommy's girl because your father wasn't there as much?
No, they both have a wonderful relationship. It just.
What was your reasoning for distancing yourself from him? Because normally it would be daddy's girl, mommy's boy.
I don't really distance myself from him. He owns his own company though, so he works
He's
quite a bit.
Busy.
Very busy.
So would you say that there's a potential that you have kind of felt ignored by him? Kind of like, hey, me, but hey, kind of busy.
Yeah, I tend not to call him because he doesn't answer.
Yeah.
So I mean, a little bit like that, but I have a pretty good relationship and I love him very much, so.
I get a sense of a few abandonment issues, like as if you wish you could be closer with him, is wish you could know him better, that you could hug him and it'd be receiving and not so much kind of cold, distant. It shows up as if he abandoned you, which, again, it's one of those things you have to filter out because it'll show us things and they give us signs to things, and so you have to kind of fiddle through it. But in my mind's eye is as if you were closer. I get the sense that you were closer to him as you were like 2, 3, and then whatever success that he had through the company became the stronghold, and he was not as much available. Like maybe maybe more around through your adolescence. Do you have a brother too?
No, I don't have a brother.
Who's your brother energy? You have someone that's
It's
like
me.
a brother
My
to
best friend, I consider my brother.
Okay,
Okay.
that answered that.
Yeah. And that's a thing too, is that we will, we will adopt grandparents, or we will adopt brothers or sisters and those energies. But he's an amazing link for you. You've known him for a very long time.
Very long.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you worried about him?
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Recently, yes, very much so.
Do you want some guidance on that?
Yeah, I would like to know what to do.
Well, know that there are some times that we can't do as much as we would like to do. I sense that he has become very distracted. He has very much lost his pathway. His living circumstances are not influential to him whatsoever. Do you have the ability of bringing him into your living circumstances?
Actually, yeah, he is.
I understand.
Yeah.
This is going to take a major intervention and a plan. So come up with a plan, come up with some guidance. Outsource to a counselor or a mediator that can, and I suspect it should probably be male because he also has father issues. It should be of a male counselor that will be easier for him to talk to. He might not get a lot of progress with the first counselor, but he might be able to refer him to another counselor, which will be more useful to him. And then if you do decide to bring him into your home, do make sure you have guidelines and do make sure you have a structure, and don't waver very far on that, because as I don't see that he will be, you're gonna have to do the big deep breaths, but you wear broad shoulders and your love for him will supersede. And just know that you may have to kick him out, but you have resources to make sure he's safe. And so believe in that and know of that, and give him all the avenues that you possibly can to make sure that he stays safe. And ask your dad out for lunch.
I wish I
Even as
could. He doesn't live in the state, but
Go have lunch with
All
him.
right.
Go take a little time off for you and have lunch with
Or
him.
you could Skype him and have lunch together.
there you go.
There you go.
That'll mean a lot to you. Build up that. That will heal. It's not a lost piece of your soul, but it's your strength. He's a power horse, and he's a very strong man. He's a very influential man, and his strength and his guidance, even though he doesn't necessarily say it to you the way you can hear it, his meaning is good. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have TMJ?
TMJ?
Do you clench your jaw?
okay, do you snore? Do you grind your teeth?
I grind my teeth.
Yes, because it shows that, and so you need to get that checked, and your teeth, and you need more vitamin C. Okay.
I was just told that this morning. I'm not
And
kidding.
stop stressing out so much.
Okay.
Have a drink before you go to bed.
I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think you had a question?
Get up here.
Come on down.
My name's Kimberly, and you mentioned spirit guides. I was wondering if you see any around me, and then now auras. So I had 2 questions: auras and spirit guides.
Oh, well, actually, I'm Native American, and so animals come through too. You actually have a wolf next to you, which can be a spirit guide, and they stand for a teacher. So,
As opposed to a spider,
as
which
opposed
I'm not very
to
comfortable
Charlotte
about
Webb's
the spider.
uncle here. So, so
that
you do
remind
have the wolf. You do have the wolf, which is a spirit guide. And so do you lean towards teaching? Do you like teaching? Are you being instructed?
No, not really. I'm not very patient of a person, which is kind
She's
of
a
weird.
renegade.
I'm not patient.
Okay.
A patient person.
So spirit guides or angels or ancestors usually align themselves in your energy to guide you and teach you. So, oops, I'm getting feedback here. If you're not very patient, then I would observe the wolf. Okay, he's a teacher. He's trying to give you instruction. How do I say this? Do you think you're a loner?
Yes.
Yeah, because the wolf
Yes.
pack, you know, but the main guy, he's out there checking stuff out, okay? You're a real observer and very almost critical, if I might use that word, when it comes to family.
Definitely,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So he's definitely wants to help you. He's beautiful, beautiful animal, about family.
Okay.
And so investigate that, okay? But they definitely come in as a teacher. This is going to sound bizarre. Well,
It
maybe
often
not.
does.
So European connection, not Lithuanian, but what's your?
Irish. My dad's.
So you're Celtic here, okay? I'm seeing. No,
No.
that's not that one. So what's your other?
My mom's Mexican.
That's not going to work.
Yeah.
So,
No, I know you get like.
so
Hebrew.
rather than yes, actually.
Yeah, I'm getting Hebrew. I don't know
because
why.
she's dressed.
It's the hair.
She's,
No,
no.
But you asked for guides, and
Yeah.
so you have to go a little. Okay, sometimes this is gonna sound crazy, but sometimes you have to go deeper than what you even are thinking around your circle. So you have to go like great grandparent, great grandparent, like the beginning of time. You know, somewhere in your lineage there's Hebrew, somewhere there is Jewish.
I used to dream about being hunted in the woods when I was a little kid. Like
Go-
families about in the woods a lot.
Okay.
That's
And this
about
could
it.
be a past life association that you've brought forward with you. Yeah, she's.
You've ever had a fascination with the Jewish history? Have you ever dated somebody who's Jewish?
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
This one's, I had that happen just the other day, and he told me he had a Jewish connection, which was very interesting. And this woman is
Maybe it's future we're reading.
very, could be in a village, the province of a place. She's wearing brown, and she's carrying potato. Well, that is rather Irish, isn't it? How about that? Potato famine. Anyway, but she's
Yeah, I know you have to be a historian in order to be a
part
psychic.
of
Who knew?
your lineage, very fundamental, very basic, and she. Okay, so are you into mysticism?
Yes.
Okay, because she was into mysticism, so this is where we're going, and it's a lineage thing. And you need to investigate it more and get a necklace that has the triqueta. Do you know what that is? Do you have anything for the
No.
triqueta? Okay, get that. That's going to open a window for you.
Okay.
There's so much more,
Okay.
but time limits.
Time.
But yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
you'll be fine.
Thank you.
It resonated with me when you said that newborns are connected still to the other side, and I just recently had a newborn. And
Congratulations,
Thank
boy
you.
or girl?
Boy, Bo baby. And so he has been sort of a special gift. I have a 14-year-old, so he definitely came very
He
late.
was like, yay!
But he was definitely a blessing. But do you believe that babies, when they come from the other side, that they're connected with your ancestors, and when they come to this, he just seems like an old soul to me. Like he's very calm and very, like when I look at him, I feel like he spent time on the other side with loved ones, and he's here for a reason.
Oh, he wasn't just with loved ones, baby cakes. So he actually came for you. He knows exactly what you need. Okay. Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
what I know to be true is that we're energy, right? And several people have already heard this, but I'm just going to share it as simply as I can. We're energy, and if you strip everything away, we're a ball of energy. People call us soul. It cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed. It goes back to the source. So whatever your belief system is, I don't want to step on your toes, but just go with me here. So let's pretend, what is your name?
Michelle.
Michelle means one who's like God. That's what your name means. So we're going to pretend for a moment that you're this little energy sprite, just this white light of energy, because that's what we are, and you're with Source. And Source says, Michelle, it's your turn to go to Earth and see what it's like to be human, so you can help them in some manner. And you're like, I'm ready. Yes, I've watched them. They're really not doing a very good job. So I'm going to go down and help them. Okay. Along with that, you bring with you 2 cohorts, which are everyone's automatically born with 2 guardian angels. Others come in your band as you grow and learn, and they help you be interested in the things that you came here to do. Babies, you've held a child and you've looked in their eyes and you know they know more than you do. It's almost eerie, spooky, because you know that they just came from there with all that knowledge, all that information, all that love, all that peace, all that harmony, and it's in them. And they are an old soul. This one, yours is. And has chosen to, they pick you. You pick your parents, you pick your life circumstances for your greatest human earth lesson, to find out what it's like to be human and how you can turn, lift them up, and help them. Because your purpose here, your dharmic purpose, is to help mankind in some way. Your son picked you, and you picked your parents, and you picked your life circumstances, even heartbreaking kind. Because everything's a gift. When you can figure out what that gift is, you're gonna be fine. Okay, because it's all a gift. We may not feel it at the time, but it's a gift. Your son's a gift, and he is an old soul. I was just thinking about...
Who does he, which grandfather does he remind you of?
I wouldn't say actually grandfather. I feel he's more connected to me, like he reminds me of my mom who's passed on. Like I feel like there's a connection there. In fact, we just recently moved. We've gone through a lot of transition, and I've had some interesting things happen in the new place. Actually, my friend Shandy here, she, thank God for Facebook, right? So I posted a picture of me and the baby sitting by a fire, and I had mentioned to her that some interesting things had happened in this new place. And she's like, oh my God, did you see the smoke? And it was actually like a woman standing in the smoke. And so I was kind of wondering if that was, a spirit guide or...
Did you know your grandfather on your mother's side?
Mm-hmm. But I wasn't close with him.
Okay, but because you not necessarily weren't close to him, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have a desire to be close to you. Mm-hmm. One of the things my mother taught me is that we encompass ourselves around all the souls that we have known throughout our spiritual life. And somehow or another, whether we meet them on the street or randomly, we all come back together. And you know how you see it like in school. There'll be groups of us that'll be in one group, and there'll be groups of us that are in another group. And you don't really fit into that group, but you fit into this group. And in essence, all of us somewhere have met. Whether we were close or whether we were not as close, we were all in the same group together. Mm-hmm. So our groups will stay together, and people will come into our lives because they're connected within our soulful group. Whether they were a big meaning in our group, whether they were related to us in our group or whatnot, or whether they were just one of our best friends. And then we'll go, gosh, I feel like I've known you forever. And it's like, in some ways, soulfully, we have known each other forever. Your son is very curious to your grandfather who's passed on your mother's side. And it's intriguing him because of his youthfulness, yet and you can tell when a child looks like they're old. And
yeah, he looks like an old man almost. I'm like, I know you're just a baby, but you look like an old man.
he'll change. He'll change when he's about 4 or 5, again, through that transition, and he'll be lots of things to teach you. He has lots of things to teach you, but there's also things that you have to teach him. And if anything, and you already are, you observe him and watch him and just sit in curiosity, and he will forever be that one little boy that you were like, I know with my son, and I know this is gonna sound wrong, but even just to sit him and watch him try to pee into Cheerios, I was just like, that's so fascinating. And it was just because I'm a girl, and so I sit on my 2 girls, they sit on the toilet, they go potty, yay. And for him it was just like, he's spraying that thing everywhere, and you're like, or he goes out and he puts mud all over his face, and you're like, I can't even be mad at you. That's just like, that's so cool. Why did you decide to do that? He's going to teach you so many things that are going to fascinate you that are not girl-like.
Right.
And enjoy. You've got so much. You have another question, though.
No.
How old is he?
3.5 months.
And was the delivery fine?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Well, it was stressful.
Yeah, it was 30 hours.
And did his hip, was his leg, I want you to pay attention to his hip leg.
Okay.
I'm not saying anything's abnormal, but he might end up being a little tender on one side more than the other. Pay attention to that.
Every baby needs a chiropractor.
They need to, your son needs to be adjusted.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, it's never too young.
Well, it's interesting you say that because my older son, actually, we had massages today, and his sacrum's out of line.
This is off.
Yeah. So, but that's my older son.
Yeah, that's okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, but you think about babies and what they got to come out through?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, they all need to be adjusted.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
I have a question about my career. Do you see me having a major career change anytime soon?
No. Do you want a major career change?
That would be my question.
I'm not getting any younger, let's face it. And I work a lot of hours on my feet, and it's very hard on me physically.
Then
And
decide
so
what you want to do.
I just want to know if you see anything happening major.
I know this on a personal level, so I won't pretend to know something I don't know. And at one point in time, you worked around people that had disabilities, handicaps, and stuff like that. Do you have an interest in ever going back there?
Yes and no.
It's crazy on that side. I
You
mean,
know,
we're talking about people with we're talking about people with severe mental disabilities, that think that their shoe is a phone. And
Well, anytime you spend any time with anybody who has some kind of a mental disability or a physical and mental disability, daily life becomes normal with these people. So you go home and you're like, yeah, 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 yeah. and your family's going, what the hell? And everything, and you're like, oh, well, I just learned this from so-and-so that I took care of today. And they're like,
right, I'm sorry, did I forget to flush that off when I walked out the door?
psychotropic meds, Mom, here we go. I don't know. I don't know if that's where I want to be or not, because it was very, like I said, that was another physical and also,
Would there be a happy medium to that? I know you have an enjoyment of helping people. So perhaps nursing homes or nursing facilities.
yeah. I also have a question about our children. Do you see them all healthy?
I don't want to answer that yet. I want to get back to your job.
Okay.
So I'm going to treat you like I did my high schoolers. Okay?
Okay.
If you won the lottery and they said in order to collect it, you had to work at something 8 hours a day and it could be anything you wanted, what would it be? What would it be for you?
Not giving out Slurpees at 7-Eleven, I can tell you that much. Just saying.
Okay?
I was
Duly
raised in a
noted.
7-Eleven store. That's funny because I have literally from birth, my grandparents owned a 7-Eleven store from 1974 until the 90s.
I'm on to you, baby. I'm on
That's
to you.
that's funny. That is that's funny, and you mentioned the lottery because that's what I do. Currently, you guys have hit it right on the head. That's a really good question. I'm thinking I need to go back to school. That's what my thought is.
Well, your
and if
CNA
you go,
it's an easy obtained, but the value of it can go far. And you can work in something that would be middle of the road.
Okay.
And you could choose if you wanted to work more with youth, more in the hospitals, more in nursing homes. You would have that option, a lot more option than you would ever have as far as being psychiatric. But you could be very helpful.
Okay.
And very appreciative.
where are you currently doing your CNA? I mean, where do you use it?
She doesn't have it.
I had it about 15 years ago, but I have let it lapse because my oldest son, I came home with something on my clothes, and he was a baby, and I picked him up, and he caught RSV from my clothes, and I almost lost him.
Okay.
And he's almost 17. He'll be 17 in December. And then my youngest son also caught RSV, and he is 12, and he spent 5 days in a bubble in the hospital. Almost lost him as well. So I lost my taste for it. Let's just put it that way. I lost my taste for it, and so I let my license go because of the issues that my kids were having.
Okay.
But it's always been something I hold a lot of knowledge still.
Well, you do, and they're kind of directing, your guides, your angels, are kind of directing, reestablishing that possibility.
But under your terms.
But your terms, and perhaps more 1 or 2 in-home care type situations.
Okay.
But I also see you segueing into volunteer work. Where you'll get the time for this, but volunteer
That would require
work,
winning the lottery.
possibly, yes, possibly at Dornbecker's and or hospice.
Okay.
So play Keno.
So, and as far as your children are concerned, they are amazing. The moment I met them, they are very unique, desirous to be here on earth, have many things to teach. They're going to be fine. Okay, so
well, you've only met 2. We have
haven't-
we have a handful.
okay,
We have more than a handful. So
okay, the 2 that I know
okay.
are amazing boys.
Thank
And but here's something you need to understand, and maybe for the rest of the audience too. We tend to, on Earth, on our Earth walk in split energy, and
Okay.
it's the worst thing you can do. And so, an example of that would be telling yourself you want this and talking yourself out of it here. So your brain doesn't know what it wants. Neither does the universe. So I'm a hypnotist, okay? And so consequently, our subconscious mind doesn't understand the words like don't and can't.
Is that the same kind of feeling like when you're driving through Dairy Queen parking lot and you're driving through the drive-thru and you're like, I don't really want to I want to get the, do I want the one of the month or do I want, the chocolate one is really great. Maybe I want a chocolate dip cone. No, I think maybe peanut butter parfait. I shouldn't have a peanut butter parfait. And then she goes, can I take your order? You go, just 1 more second.
Similar.
Okay.
The split energy would be, no, I shouldn't have this, but boy, that peanut butter parfait
You
sounds
think you're going to drive your butt out of the drive-thru? Hell no, that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. But we operate in split energy all the time. So it would be like some of your parents maybe didn't want you to be vaccinated as children. Maybe it was, I don't believe in the vaccine and I believe it might injure them. But the school says, you got to be vaccinated, go to school, come on. And so the mom's on the fence of, what do I do, what do I do? Whatever decision you make, just make it and go with it 100%. Do not make the decision and then go, oh, I should never have done that. Because now you're in split energy, you're not in your own power, you can't make positive decisions, and you've taught your children how to waver.
In other words, everything is going to have a positive and negative reaction. It's a matter of your belief on how you deal with that positive and that negative. And if you believe in something firmly enough, you will be able to handle whatever that will be.
Okay.
So worry's your worst enemy, folks.
Okay.
Worry is going to rob you of everything, and it will drain you of all energy, but you will also create the energy around it, because wherever you put your mind, that's what you're going to create. So
Okay.
if you create worry about whatever, if you've done everything humanly you possibly can to be a good mom, and you live in a little bit of guilt,
Every day.
yes, and guess what? We can get rid of that. We can release that influence in your life because it has shrouded you somewhat.
Okay.
Okay, and we can unwrap that shroud for you so you don't have to live in that because
That's exactly what I do when I leave the drive-through for Dairy Queen. I release myself of that guilt and I just enjoy it. And then when I get home and I know that the scale has gone up, I don't blame myself. I just say that it was delicious. And this is love and happiness.
Well, you know, the funny thing is I know you on a personal level, so I could see you actually doing this. I was with you earlier today. I know
Right?
what we were
And
doing.
I will not regret that ice cream cone. It was delicious. And you know what? Ironically, I'll get on the scale tomorrow, actually believing that, and there won't be a pound there. And I know this because it's crazy. But if I guilt myself all night, I'll wake up and I gain 5 pounds.
Well, yeah. Stress.
Yes. Yeah.
I have another question. My mom's having some difficulty with some family issues on her side. Do you see things working out there?
That's a loaded question. How old's your mom?
My mom, oh my gosh. If I get this wrong, she's going to kill me.
I won't tell.
She's about 62, I believe. 61,
Unfortunately, you said
61.
that's not old.
She's
Okay.
in the early 60s.
61. We're going to go 61.
And
she's like 57.
She's traveling to family.
She just did. She just came back.
How's her knee?
Bad.
Yeah, I can see that. What's she doing about that?
Nothing,
She is
'cause
supposed to
she's too
go
worried
to.
about
She
the
is.
family.
She's supposed to have surgery, but they won't do it because she smokes, and so she's been a smoker for a lot of years.
Well, you can't do drugs or smoke these days. They're on you. No, what happened to free will?
It's out there. It's being used all the time. Your mom's going to need that surgery. So she's going to have to make a decision,
Okay.
get off the fence about the smoking, and we can help her with that.
Okay.
Okay. As far as the family situation, she have a sister?
Yes.
Yes, and there's conflict with her? This is where the stem is.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, it's distracting, I know. So, it's like, you've heard this saying, people's opinion of me is none of my business.
No, they haven't heard that.
Okay,
I
I'm going to
have.
say it again. You all have, my students, when I walked in a classroom and there's 30, 40 kids, they all have an opinion of me. And I can't let that influence why I'm here. Your mama has to enwrap herself and let go of the past and let go of the hurts and let go of whatever this issue is and just say, that's your opinion.
The other thing
But
that goes with
I'm
that
not going to take that with me. I'm
is
gonna
that
bring it in.
we take everything personal. And she needs to stop taking
Well-
everything so personal.
What's going on is very personal. It's very, very personal at this point.
But just because she thinks it's personal doesn't necessarily mean it's personal. Even if it's situations that she was involved in that she thought had to do with her, didn't necessarily have to do with her. We automatically think if somebody in the world says, or even if somebody we're passing by and we don't hear who they're directed to and they're like, oh my God, did you see the dress that person was wearing? We'll all of a sudden be like, are they talking about me? No, they weren't talking about you. Get out of your bubble. You know, I mean, it's like, but that's the first thing you think of. Oh my God, I think they were talking about me. What's wrong with my dress? Does it not look okay? Do I have the wrong color? Does it make me look
personal.
fat? Yeah, we take it personal. And it doesn't matter what we remember as a child does not reflect on what we know as an adult. We hear things in our child's mind that wasn't always the whole story. So as she might have taken those personally, as she might have created those as her own memories, she has a lot of unknown stories. What she needs to do, which you can't help her with, unfortunately, is she needs to become very humble. She needs to become quiet. And she needs to listen, which she has a very hard time doing. And she needs to be able to say, okay, I'm going to be a listener. I'm not going to take it personal. I'm not going to see it through my child's eyes. And I'm going to be open-minded.
Okay.
But in order for her to do that, she has to have a good self-esteem. And she doesn't. She doesn't think she's worth anything better than this pain that she keeps digging up. And it's in her energy field.
The reason why we wanted to do our show on internet radio in the first place is to bring awareness to people. You know, it's okay to talk about the paranormal. It happens to everybody every day.
And it's okay.
We're not
to do it
always
in your
open to it.
pajamas. God, that was fun. I did have like a hot toddy, my jammies, my phone.
There was a different, yeah, it was way different back then.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
And now here we have to, I mean, I spent hours on my hair today. And
It's
so,
beautiful.
yeah.
I can
It's
tell.
beautiful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And so, well, so does anybody else have any questions? All right, come on up. Come on up. And then when you talk, please talk as close as you can to the mic. And I've been neglecting to tell certain people, and they keep screaming back there. We can't hear it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I have a tendency to bring in some really unfortunate people into my life constantly. And I want to know why that keeps happening and will it ever stop?
When you wanted to stop?
But it's not my fault.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is. And that's the thing is it's worth. You're beautiful. You are a 10. Your heart is absolutely in the right place. And you have a tendency to want to help and nurture and take care of. And you have to recognize that you can't, not all these things that come into your lives, these infants, we'll say they're infants because they have one problem amongst each other and we take care of them because we feel an obligation to raise them. And it's not. But you have to make a new plan. Just like I wrote down a whole different department, you have to say the same thing with friends, with people, with energy that you bring into your life. I want people that are at this level. I want people who want to come into my life who want to change. This is the one thing you're dealing with is you've got people who come into your life that don't want to change. They don't want to be different. They convince you that they want to be different. They're jokesters. They're car salesmen. They make you believe, they make you think, you lay the red carpet out for them, you give them everything that you have, even the shirt on your back, and they poop on you. Since I can't say the S word on the show.
I used to say poop in half because that's pretty big.
Yeah. So say I will no longer allow these kind of people into my life. And these people that are currently in my life will find their own way graciously. And they will go on about themselves, and I will not stop them. And then all of a sudden, what's the gardening thing?
What?
Gardening. Do you?
No, I mow lawns on the side for fun.
But you have a passion for gardening. You love flowers and beautiful, but not so much, this is kind of a secret. Not so much, and see, that's the thing too. If you can kind of look at your life, you mow lawns. You don't landscape lawns.
I need the earth under my feet.
Yes, you do.
You don't landscape lawns. You don't redesign lawns. What about that? That's bigger.
You don't know me very well.
Oh, well, you would be surprised.
I'm not artistic.
Oh, but you are.
It's more about physical activity, labor, and the earth around me. It is what I found.
But what I'm saying is dig into the earth and plant flowers. Dig into the earth and look at the beauty, because it's something that's part of you. You are beautiful and you have many colors. So it's about creating something that still encumbers you with the earth, but it's something that you can look at and go, wow, that grew. Isn't that beautiful, all those displays of color, along with the yard that you're maintaining. But it's also something very beautiful.
I understand that you need the grounding. Do you ever beat a drum?
No.
Okay. I'd like you to get a drum, just a drum, and I'd like you to beat it. Just one beat. Close your eyes, and you're going to get grounded even more deeply. You have been scattered and definitely unrooted, and you need to root and ground.
Is it kind of like one of those things that goes?
Not quite, it's too fast.
Oh.
But to hear the drum, the heartbeat of Mother Earth, you really need that. Your soul really needs to resonate with that, and that would be a good practice for you. The other thing is, we're struggling with a self-esteem issue also. And I'm just going to throw this out and respond as honestly as you can. I know, and I'm going to get scriptural here, I know scripture very, very well. And there's a verse that says, and God breathed the breath of life in Adam, and Adam became a living soul. Whose breath is in Adam?
That would be God's.
Whose breath is in you?
That would also be God's.
It would, wouldn't it? So when you understand that divinity rests in every cell in you, in your fiber, you walk a little taller knowing your divinity. You have divinity in you. It dwells in you. So if you can embrace that thought, would you look in the mirror and go, gee, God, you're looking kind of dumpy today. Gee, God, you put on 5 pounds. Gee, God, that color is horrible on you. Probably, unless you were mad, probably wouldn't do that to God, right? Audience, would you do that? Probably not. Do not look at yourself and do it to you. When we've been taught as a culture that you're supposed to go and help people and rescue people and help people and rescue people. That tends to hook us because we have a low self-esteem. But yet we feel like we're doing good. And we can self-sacrifice ourselves over here because we're doing good here. But that's not what we're called to. We're called to balance. And you need to love and honor yourself because you are who you are, because the divine does dwell in you. And when you do that, you change your vibration. When you change your vibration, you don't get repeat patterns. Because the universe will bring it around every time. And you go, why does this keep happening to me? It will bring it around every time.
Until you snip it in the butt.
Until your response to it changes. That's all it's looking for, is a response change.
Yeah, this is number 5 in my life that I've had to go through, and it's very draining and very difficult. It's not somebody I love. Mm-hmm. I don't care about them whatsoever, but they affect my life a lot, and that's happened in the past too.
Get rid of the toxic, honey.
You have those patterns. You have those patterns, and we need to
honor
unwrap
it.
those.
You know, the only obligation in life that you have is to clothe yourself, take care of yourself, feed yourself, and share a little along the way, but not share everything. But I highly recommend you get yourself in the dirt with some flowers and start planting some flowers with some color. And when you see the beautiful colors come out of the flowers, you'll recognize that that is the beautifulness within you. That you are color.
And it's hard to have, to see your life different unless you have a vision of what it looks like. So you need to create what you want. Okay. Otherwise, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, and
it's
color, flowers is something different, but it's something that's still grounded to you. And you can look at that and you can go, see, that grew and that's beautiful. And that's what I am.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yes. It's kind of like you've all said, I'm gonna go to France someday. How many of you said that? Or some country. And you say, yep, someday I'm gonna go. Come on, raise your hands, let's see it. Come on, someday I'm gonna do that.
I am going to France.
Someday never happens until you tell the universe, I'm gonna go June 14th 2016, and you make that part of your vision, and then the universe knows how to work for you. But
See,
you
I said
have
that
to be
about Disney
specific.
World.
Well, you said that about your sweetie too.
Yeah. I'm going to go to Disney World because that's when Avatar comes out.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to go see it. I'm going to.
Okay.
I've never been to Florida.
Ooh, it's a great place.
I know.
Yeah.
I was thinking that myself. I think we had one more.
Do we have somebody else that has a question? Come on up. Yes. And I know in the control room we're running out of time. That's okay. Let's just keep going. All right. Nah,
Don't worry
No,
about it.
don't. I listen slow.
I'm taller than this microphone. Okay. Is it on?
Yes.
I can't hear myself. Okay, anyways, hello.
Hi.
I'm planning on making a really big move soon with a boyfriend of mine. And I get like mixed reviews about it, but I just want to hear your thoughts.
Oh, that hurts her, doesn't it? What's your review on it?
I'm excited.
Okay, and why are your parents not?
My dad's okay about it because, yeah, he doesn't really care. My mom doesn't like it because we're not married. So she's like, you're making a huge risk and you're not married yet. So what if things don't work out? And then,
You're moving away.
Yeah, I'm moving away.
What's the worst that can happen?
That I have to move back. So I'm like, and I'd be fine because I'd go back to my job and like they'd always like welcome me with open arms. So.
Okay, let me give you one bit of advice, and this was from a really huge learning experience that I conquered in my life. If you don't have the means to be able to take care of yourself, you will never have the means to do what you want for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the means, not his means, but your means, saved aside to get you back to whatever it is you need to get back, and you just put that in savings, and you just leave it in savings, and it's your whatever fund, your relationship will be more successful. There will be no fighting, there will be no arguing, there will feel no feeling of being trapped, because you're going, is this the first time you've ever lived away from your parents?
Yeah.
Okay, another bit of advice for you. It is terrifying to be that far away from mommy and daddy. And mommy and daddy are always not so quick to write out a check and bring you back. They want you to learn your life lessons because you're a big girl and this is what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you think about it in that way, it becomes pretty scary, right? So if they told you, I'm sorry, honey, we can't afford to bring you back, how does it make you feel? A little scared?
No, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
But-
know how to.
but as long as you have something put away and you have your own sense of independence and you have your own way back that does not create any control on his end, I say go for it.
I hear what you're saying with her, but I also see this warrior energy in you. You're kind of stepping march to a different drum, and you kind of like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm my own person, which is great. My question is, why are you doing this?
Because it kind of has a mix of like my passion for what I want to do for a living mixed with this incredible guy that I'm like strongly
Attracted to?
Yeah.
What's your passion that you want to do for a living?
Well, I actually just got my Zumba instructing license, so I love to like
Congratulations.
dance and like help people, get healthy
Awesome.
and it brings like positive vibes and stuff. So
And he does this too, and so you both are supportive of this?
no,
or
it's because his family opened up a gym, and so I'm gonna be moving and living in working at that gym, and so even if I didn't work out with me and him, I could still be the Zumba instructor and like make money and stuff, and so.
One would hope. Yeah. Don't bank on that, baby cakes. Only because it's his family's gym. And so consequently, if there should be a bump in the road, you can't always count on that. So I really wholeheartedly understand Elise saying, be ready, be prepared.
Right. And I'll
for
tell you
whatever.
though, it will balance out your relationship because you do know in the back of your mind you have that security. You won't be persuaded with your warrior-like personality that you can't go off and do something else. And if you like where you're living, you can go get an apartment where you're living, or you can go back. because you have the means to be able to do so. You relying on his family to be able to support you in any way it's a backfire. And even though it might work out just fine like that, it makes a person feel less than what they are, and so therefore they agree to things that they wouldn't normally agree to because they feel afraid that those things will no longer be there. But if you have this nest egg built behind you, you're gonna be like, no, I don't agree to that. No, I don't want to do that. And no, if I want to leave tomorrow, I'm going to leave tomorrow. And no, you're not going to talk to me that way. And no, I don't want to do that as part of the job. And everybody's going to be like, where's the self-defiance coming from? It's because you're still your own person. And you still have the means to be able to get to wherever you need to get to in life, and you should. So make sure you have the savings, if possible, before you go. And it'll make you feel a lot better. It'll balance out the relationship for you and your partner, and everything will be okay.
Okay.
And thank you for doing a job, a future career that's going to help other people. That's
Yeah, of
part of your
course.
purpose for
And
being
I love
here.
it myself, so I'm like, I doesn't even feel like a job. So
Yeah, isn't that great? Now, the boyfriend, answer this top of your head as quick as possible.
Okay.
Do you think he's strong or not?
strong.
Okay, just want to know. Just want to make sure.
Okay,
Thanks.
I don't really have a question, but I've been sitting here with my chest buzzing, so I feel like you guys maybe have a message that I need to know, or I guess I'm hoping.
Give me your name.
Shandy?
Shandy, hi.
Hi.
Heart chakra.
Yep.
Yeah. Relationships. That's where relationships reside. And you have a beautiful heart. You're very loving, okay? But you got some serious wound stuff here that hasn't been healed, and
You're
we
rubbing
talked
your hair.
I'm sorry.
Mike.
Sorry, Mike. We talked about the personal filter. So decisions made are based on that personal filter. You got some pretty deep wounds here, baby cakes, that need light and healing.
Okay.
Okay. And yet, diametrically opposed to that, you're this very loving, open, caring person. And I see a shift for you where this is no longer going to influence your decision making, and that you will be free of that and move forward.
I feel like I'm pretty much starting to work
You
on
are.
that,
You're
yeah.
shifting that. You're shifting that, and that's good job. Good work for you. Your throat chakra is could be stronger. This is where you speak your truth, and you're a stuffer, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to open that up and standing in your truth in love, and that's what you're learning. Okay. Few other things there, but you're on the right track, doing what you need to do, and you're just going to continue to blossom, continue to shine.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that in any relationship, we still have the ability, whether there's toxic words or there's positiveness, or somebody doesn't support the job career that we want to be in, or the life path that we have, we can still offer that person choice. And we should offer that person choice. And we should say to them, look, this is where I'm at. And you know, you hear the complaint all the time, well, that's not the person that I married. Well, that's not the person that used to be. Well, of course not. I'm not the person that you married, and I'm not the person that you may have wanted me to be. I change every single day. I change with every streetlight or person I drive by or person that comes in contact with me. Well, they can't lock us in a box. And unfortunately, we're not locked in boxes. And we are going to change. And you may have wanted to be a dentist all your life, and the next thing you know, you want to be, an x-ray technician. Well, I thought you wanted to be a dentist. Well, I don't want to be a dentist anymore. Well, why not? Well, I don't have to have a reason. You don't have to have a reason for anything in life. But we do have to be responsible for the things that we do decide that we want to do. And if that's something that you love and it's something that you feel you have a calling for and you have a passion for, then you have to be willing to accept that you may tell this to somebody and they may say, I'm not on the same page with you. And you know what? It's okay. even if you've been with that person for 16, 17 years, you know, you have to say, it's okay. It's okay. And you have to say to them, I recognize that, and I have to let you know that this is what the situation is going to be, is that I'm not going to be able to spend the rest of my life with you. And then when they say, what? And you say, look, obviously we have two different directions, and you don't have the ability to be supportive of the direction that I'm going in or the direction that I want to go in. And they say, well, wait, that's what the consequence is, or that's what the issue is? And say, either you find it in your heart to love me unconditionally and find some acceptance in the direction that I want to go in, or we go different ways. And there should never be any guilt for that, because we all change. But give choice first. But be sure and be confident about the decisions and the choices that you do want to make, so that you don't look back and have guilt. So you don't look back and say, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have put a relationship that, you know, was 20 years in because I decided I wanted to be an astronaut. And that didn't really work out. But you also might find a sense of freedom in that we don't have to do anything we don't want to do unless we commit a crime and we have to go to jail. Then we have to go to jail.
There's a consequence there.
But given the fact that we're not in jail,
Right.
we don't have to imprison ourselves in anything, but we do have to give that person a choice and an opportunity to say, hey, look, how about I give you all the information for it and see how it settles in with you? Maybe I haven't given you all the information for it, or let you know how the story will kind of go, or how this might benefit us. Communication and talking about the whole story might actually, in fact, change the way that another person is thinking, and say, oh, well, hey, you didn't tell me that part of it. Oh, well, I didn't know about that part. Maybe I could get used to that idea. You know, well, great. I would love for you to be on this journey with me. But it's okay if people get to a point they can't be on the journey anymore. I mean, Aaron and I took 12 years off. Here we are again, you know, and those that are meant to be are meant to be, and those that are meant to come back to you will come back to you, and those that are meant to go off onto their own ways. And here's the other beautiful part, is that sometimes when you let somebody go, and it's not about being selfish, it's not about you going on your own direction, how are you to know that he doesn't have something more spectacular he needs to go do?
We don't want to hold other people back.
Right.
But you have you're very tender, and your sensitivities are very acute, and you have some medical stuff that you need to boost your immune system in.
Okay.
Okay, baby? And there's a sense of deep sadness in you that has to do with this stuff. So I'd love to talk with you sometime.
Okay.
Okay.
How do I do that?
Okay. Pardon me?
How do I do that?
Oh, you know, I'll talk to you after the show.
Okay.
Okay.
I had a prophet recently tell me that there was a lion at my door controlling me, and that there was a man out there looking for me. He said it could be a demon. He wasn't sure. Also, I have
That would scare me.
yeah, I also have a son that is very unhappy, and if you can see anything there that can help me with him.
How old is he?
He's 26.
Well, he suffers from depression, you know that.
Yes, he does.
Severely. And how do I get into this? May I? Okay.
I see a disability with him, though,
Yeah.
as well.
There's, yeah. Yeah.
Mentally.
There are entities. I don't call them demons.
Okay.
Okay. But there are negative energies that can attach. I don't call possession,
Okay.
but they can attach that can drain you of your energy, can put your electrical mental firing off.
Mm-hmm.
You have a couple attached to you.
I figured so.
Yeah. And those can be released.
Mm-hmm.
There's a technique that can be done for that. There are those that are called waywards, and waywards are ones that didn't make the window to get where they were going, And so they attach to whatever bright light they see. And all of us have an aura, and all of us are emitting light. And so they'll go, oh, that one looks good, and they'll attach. They're not necessarily mean or harmful, but they do drain you of your energy and your forward movement. Then there are those that are called the fallen. And the fallen tend to be energies that don't want to leave Earth, and they get in your way. So may I give an example? I just did one on a gentleman that came to me, and he had, we did the waywards, and you can send them to the light very easily. That's not a problem. The fallen, like I said, like being here, and they like creating havoc. And so when I did his, it's a theta thing, and I did his reading, he had 4. One was attached to the back of his head. One was attached to his spine halfway and down. And then one was here and one was here. Now the one that was on the back of his head, and because I go into theta wave, which is God, Christ consciousness wave, if I ask them their name, they have to give it to me. And the names are never Tom, Dick, or Harry. They're guttural, weird names. And then I ask them on behalf of higher power to leave, and they have to. They cannot not do that. This one, I don't remember their names, but they were names you wouldn't remember. This one had been with him and had kept him foggy in the brain since he was 12. And he was a great musician, but he couldn't balance a checkbook. He didn't like anything political. He couldn't retain information. This one prevented his, quote, spiritual growth past 17. This guy was dressed like a knight in shining armor, only he was all in black. And he drew a line, remember in Robin Hood when Little John blocked Robin's path? This guy blocked this guy's forward movement and growth. And then this little guy here was a minion that kept the pot stirred so the guy could never be grounded. Now this man is, I'm cold. This man is 56 years old, and everything I described, his counselor said, you never grew past age 17, you never da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it was also perfect. Sad, but perfect. But removing them, I checked with him a week later, and his energy was like unbelievable. I mean, you wouldn't even recognize this person. Those things happen. Depression, drugs, alcohol, those types of things create holes in your auric field, and they come and attach. So you can remove those and get those sealed up. I don't know if that helped you or not, but you have a few that you could use some help, I guess.
Well,
Okay.
death will also do that too. Not accepting that someone has passed on, via any family member, that can also create holes as well that we need to. But your son, you
My
want to know
son.
about your son.
What can be done with him if he's got a disability?
Well, okay, and I'll clarify disability. A disability can be, for example, I'm dyslexic. Okay, I've had it since I was little. It is a disability. It's classified as a disability, but is it something that stops my life? No. Do I read more? Do I make sure I look at numbers and letters more closely? Yes. It's not something that's going to stop my pathway in life. So a disability can come from anything, whether it's a learning disability, an emotional disability, a physical disability. For him, I see a disability in just acceptance. And again, it counteracts with the depression. It counteracts with a low self-esteem. It counteracts with the fact that he was not necessarily an A student in his growing up, which probably counteracted with the depression and a lot of the things. He kind of had a little bit more anger, a little bit more, was a little bit more defensive. And this is an action that we create when we are lacking something that we can't explain, but yet we know, I know I'm not the smartest person, then that defensiveness comes up, or I'm not stupid, or I knew that. and he didn't really know that. And so he's gradually built up this defensiveness around him. And so anytime anything is confronted with him, with even if it's with love, well, I know that. I don't want to talk about this anymore, you know, and he is just done.
Yeah, he doesn't.
The conversation
you're right.
is cut off. Unfortunately, until, you know, the best thing that you can do is you can say, you know, I love you. You know, I love you, and I am here when you want to talk. And the next time you talk to him and he starts complaining about all the things, you know, I love you, and you know I'm here.
That's all you say. Don't give an
No.
opinion. He doesn't want it.
Don't give him any more energy
Okay.
to the negative.
Okay.
When he talks about things that are positive, spend 5 more minutes on the phone with him.
Okay.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear about that, son. That sounds great. That's wonderful to hear about. Not, I see you're doing better. I think you're doing better.
Yeah. I think-
Okay, he doesn't need
No.
that credit.
No.
What he wants is he wants to make you proud of him. He wants you to be proud of him.
Okay.
He wants to see that you're proud of him, and that's all you need to say.
Okay.
And even if it's a 5-minute conversation, just say, I'm really proud of you. That's great.
Okay.
And when you don't say anything else, he goes, oh, well, that worked out okay. And he gets off the phone and he goes, I feel kind of good about that. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to go do 2 more things that is going to make my mom proud of me next week. And then when you say, oh, that's nice, honey. Hey, you know, I gotta go do some laundry. You know, I love you though. I'll talk to you later. You don't have to acknowledge anything. But then when he says, you know, hey mom, you know, when you were saying that I should go get that thing done, say, that's really great, son. I'm so proud of you. Okay, I love you. You know, get off the phone. No more energy.
Right.
No more energy. He's going to go, aren't you going to yell at me? You told me not to do that. Well, you know, I don't have any feelings one way or another about it anymore. You know, and he'll be like, what? Because you've been feeding him. You've been feeding him. He recognizes that he's got things he needs to prove, but he needs to recognize those within himself. And when you give him that positive energy towards the things that are good, then he'll
Right.
start wanting to do more things because he does love you. And he
Oh,
does
he
want to
does.
make you proud.
Yeah.
Does he have stomach issues?
Yes.
He has some sensitivities there.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so those
And
need,
insomnia.
to be addressed, yeah. Well, he's got
That's part of the depression.
fear. He's got a fear piece going on here, hence the insomnia, and he has a lot of anger going on
I
and
know.
no power. So because he doesn't feel empowered, he's got stomach issues.
If
going
he
on.
had sexual abuse as a child and can't remember it, can that be the root?
Absolutely,
Okay, I think that's part.
absolutely.
Although, I'll have you know that a lot of times if a child can't remember it, sometimes that can be
Better.
a choice, actually, whether to
Oh,
go back
okay.
there or not.
Okay.
Sometimes bringing that up, feeding into that, bringing
Could be.
that remembrance up
For
can
somebody like
actually create it to be worse.
Okay.
And given his energy, perhaps it's
at
not
this
worth
time. Not at this time, anyway.
Yeah.
But doing things that empower him, where he can feel stable in
That's
his power
wonderful.
center, is what you want
That's
to do.
great. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you so much. Oh, you know, did you get your hair cut? You know, can I send you $10? You know, okay, good. It's nice to hear you're doing well. Positive, positive, positive. Any negative? Oh, you know what? I gotta go. Oh, you know what? Somebody's called. Oh, the dog just ran out the door. I've got to go grab the dog. You know, whatever, however, get off the phone.
Okay, good. Do you see anything towards my future? It's been pretty chaotic for about 5-10 years.
Do you want to change your job?
The job.
I see
I've been
accounting.
downsized and I'm fighting it.
Accounting.
Do you
it- what-
see anything?
What field do you work in? Accounting?
I was a locomotive engineer.
Oh, wow. Do you like the office?
They're notorious for running the women out.
Boy, but the health benefits to that are incredible.
Well, yeah. It's just been an ongoing battle.
They're
very controlling. They're very controlling.
Do you have anything else in a different field that you've done any training for?
I'm rather excited about coming here and taking classes right now.
Okay.
So I'm enjoying that, and that's how I found out about this program, and I decided to stay. And I just wanted to know what you see in the future, if you see anything, and anything about my father who passed in '85. He did come back to see me once. I was just wondering if you see anything there, and a cat that
Yeah, the cat went
recently
by.
passed.
Yeah, the cat's here around. It's been going through the.
You're kidding.
No, it's been going around.
Is he happy?
Do you have to ask that?
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
He's a good-
more
oh,
than
he's a
you
good
let
kid.
on.
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and the things we talked about your son, you suffer from too. So you need to change your personal dialogue.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that would help. That would
Okay.
help you. And as far as your career goes, definitely go to the schooling piece. For whatever reason, you've stuck in chaos, and you don't need to be in chaos anymore. You need to let that go. Okay, that's not. Visualize what you want to see and move off of that, because you've been in it for 10 years. It has not served your highest good, has it? Mm-mm.
No.
No. So we need to shift that energy. So, and your dad comes and goes. Dad, he comes and goes, and you know that too. You can feel him. You talk to him. Yeah. So just keep talking to him. He knows.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you. And thank you. And if you have any further questions, once we've wrapped up the show, which we're going to do right now, feel free to grab Elise or Tish and talk to them privately if you wish. So thanks again. Again, I'm Aaron Collins, and we want to thank you so much for a special edition of Paranormal Crossings. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Tish. And thank you, audience. And have a happy, safe Halloween.
Thank you, girl.